it occurs to me that so often when we talk about sustainability, we're hearing about it from people who themselves represent the very conditions and systems that have led to unsustainability and our current planetary crisis. Almost always lost are the voices of people who have genuinely proven themselves sustainable and free for centuries, talking about indigenous people, maroon peoples, who have been here and by their very existence in the face of all these other cascades of collapse are themselves saying, we're here and we're staying here. Our work, as I see it, is to listen to those voices, stand with them, support them, and create genuine relationships with these peoples. And that's, to me, what Proven Sustainable is all about.
I am in full accord with what you're saying, Sox, and needing to extend that to people of African descent who are not in geographical maroon communities, but have maroon mindset.
Right.
We have been here under the thumb of the oppressor for 500 years, and we're still here and growing. There is a mindset that goes along with the geographical mindset of maroon and indigenous people that has to be recognized in the work that we do, because if we do not recognize that, then we limit ourselves to the geographical communities that are in existence now, and hoping, praying that the people who are in power will hear what it is we're saying. We need to be clear that they have no intentionality to hear, that they must be impressed with a deeper and more spiritually integral message for them to get what's being said. They're not going to just understand it through the English language and their traditional paths to or through reason and logic. They're not going to get it that way.
Well, I really agree that, I mean, Malcolm X talked about the loss of our African indigenous understanding as being one of the great problems in the United States. And this idea of how we all lived in a flowing balance, because we were emphasizing spirituality over materialism. We were emphasizing the interconnectedness of all creatures and the high respect for women, and these things that are part of what we now know as a worldview that the social anthropologist Robert Redfield out of the University of Chicago said that the most tragic event in human history was the overtaking of our dominant materialistic anthropocentric worldview over what he called then the primal worldview. Well, that worldview belongs to everyone. And what is amazing about this organization that Sox created is that there are contemporary cultures that have managed against all odds to hold on to this worldview. And in addition to the worldview, of course, they have something special that we've got to fight for and defend, and that is local place-based knowledge that requires fluency in languages that are being lost each day, language and ceremonies and knowledge of a particular landscape from which that language emerges. And while we're defending those contemporary cultures that are, I think, we've got more than 70 of them that people can visit on the Proven Sustainable Org website, we have to remember that although most people, including me, do not have that specific wisdom of being raised in one place, we all have in common with those a worldview that has been robbed because of colonization. And if we can just remember that worldview, we'd be more likely to help the place-based knowledges to survive, and then we can re-indigenize ourselves in whatever places we find ourselves.
I can speak especially to just feeling an overwhelm and frustration and constantly being distracted by the different, both bad news and new shiny objects and solutions. And then also at the same time, having a shame and a guilt around not doing enough or being right and being sustainable enough. And because there are these polished models that are constantly being put forth, but within these systems that are predominantly Western and colonial, that are encouraging ways of being and thinking that go against what these particular Indigenous and Maroon peoples and collectives are really exemplifying of how to live in more respectful, balanced ways that have, as Sox said, been proven to be sustainable. So we really appreciate everyone who's taking the time to just reflect on themselves, to learn about these bigger systems and worldviews, and to join us in deepening the dialogue and the efforts to learn and support one another.